My name is John Carey.
I'm Ryan Sarney.
I'm Pat Finnerty.
This is our C-SPAN project, and we will be showing you how mental health policies have helped students.
Policy put out by the United States Department of Education that encourages schools to help students who are suffering from mental health issues, especially after the recent COVID-19 pandemic. This chart is what we based our project on and is an important factor in how schools teach.
Our first source is by Charlotte Moore, Opportunities to Address Student Mental Health Concerns in Fully Online School. This study showed how practice in mindfulness in classrooms can increase concentration by students on academic tasks and reduce things like anxiety in the classroom. Due to students struggling with mental health, many high schools and colleges have implemented these mindfulness activities that can be done whilst in school and in online school. These mindfulness activities are easy to do and are quick to do, meaning they can be easily done to relax the mind and in turn de-stress yourself. Adding this to the classroom curriculum is good for students as it will cause them to be more focused and get more done in school.
Our next clip is of Representative Haley Stevens as she talks about the effects of bad mental health and how youth good mental health can prevent later problems in life.
Students spend more and more time online. Bullying contributes to emotional and mental health problems for children across this country and in far too many cases has driven kids to suicide. In fact, a recently released CDC report stated that suicide of youth ages 10 to 24 has increased nearly 60% in the last 10 years. This is an issue that deserves our consideration, deserves research, and deserves action. We simply must do more to prevent bullying and its devastating consequences.
In the New York Times article, Teens in COVID Isolation, Emma Goldberg stated that she felt like she was suffocating. COVID has affected the mental health of many students. Our generation was affected in a negative way that the world has never seen, which has caused a lot of mental health problems with many students due to severe isolation during the pandemic. There was a spike in amounts of mental-related visits to the emergency room, which really shows how COVID has affected the mental health of children.
So our last source was by Kelly R., and it's about depression and suicide in young students. Between 2009 and 2015, the number of students visiting counseling centers has increased by 30% on average. So the spike in children going to seek mental health will result in less mentally ill people later in life, as they will have had good mental health through the important youth years leading up to 25, where the brain is still developing. With long waits comes less people that can be treated. They give up and lose interest in things they once loved, which is why it's important for high schools and colleges to prioritize mental health and counseling for young children.
Our next clip is from Alyssa Brown, and she will discuss how COVID has affected our generation and our generation's mental health.
24% are reporting significant symptoms of depression, and we're seeing a third of kids, parents are reporting serious behavior problems in those kids. So your question is, how is that happening? What can we do about it? The social connections that kids have typically are so important, not only to their general development, but also they protect kids from developing mental health problems after a disaster or any kind of crisis.
Writer Ariana Prothero writes in her essay, Why Principals Need to Make Student Mental Health a Priority, that within the first 8 days of school this year, 3 students in a suburban district east of Los Angeles killed themselves. There's a major rise in the amount of kids struggling with mental health, and unfortunately, in turn, a rise in teen suicide. Many kids are not going to get the help when they are struggling, and it is very needed in the situations now. Instead of ignoring, they need to be taught ways that can better their mental health in the classroom. In schools, we should be following the policies that the government sent out and help our students figure out how to better manage their mental health so that we can reduce the amount of teen suicides.
We spoke to Oliver Ames High School English teacher, Mrs. Binney, about why she teaches mental health in her classroom.
I mean, I just think the trend in education lately has been that so many more students are outspoken, which is a great thing, about having anxiety, about being overwhelmed, about being stressed, all of which contributes to poor mental health. And we see that affecting their schoolwork, right? And since this is a place for academics, we obviously want to make sure that we touch base with their social emotional needs, because then that will also better their academic outcomes. It's just good to have it as an option to show kids that, you know, there are strategies out there, and also to normalize it, because I think what we're noticing in recent years is that it's a commonality among most of us, right? It used to make us feel like an outcast, but now I think it's actually something that unifies all of us.
In conclusion, students' mental health is very important, and schools should take the government's advice and teach it in schools. Thank you.